Hi, good morning, everyone. Greetings from IMDA. I'm Adrian, and I'm honored, and I think it's a great privilege to speak with you here. So I want to dive right in because we have many good speakers coming here to speak. I want to thank Vinay for setting the context. I think it's wonderful that we know the world that we're operating in. And today I'll be sharing with you a project that we put up recently. It's called the Digital Makers Project. And with it, you will see how we are trying to work together with schools to get students ready for a very digital society. Now, I'm sure you have seen this table. You know, the thing about assessment is this: even to know where a country is, we need to go through an assessment. And OECD has been talking about this. And I think you'll hear Andre speaking about this. And Singapore is right up there. We know that people visit Singapore to find out how good Singapore is in preparing kids at the early stage. And being a principal, I know we have a very good public school system. We have a system where kids are well prepared to take on the next phase in education, and there's alignment because we have a good teacher training school in the National Institute of Education. So the alignment, Singapore speaks well of alignment because we are a small country, and it's easy to put the pieces together. But we are not perfect, because when you look at another study, OECD released this study sometime last year in October. This is they look at test results on graduates in different countries in terms of literacy skills and other skills. You can look at some of the data in the OECD website. It's called Education at a Glance 2016. Now, Singapore and Korea, countries that are typically high on the OECD PISA study, they are not there. They are below average. And these are the top 10 countries that did really well. And when I shared this with some of my friends in the US, they say, "Are you sure this is legit? How can US be in the top 10? We don't do well in rankings." So these are the things that keep policymakers really edgy, and to some extent, they are worried. And I think Vinay mentioned something about skills. Are we equipping our kids with skills to tackle what is coming? So I don't know whether you have seen more reports coming out regularly. This morning, I just read the report produced by Telstra, an Australian telco, about how ready a country is for digitalization, the digital economy. And Singapore was not right up there, okay? And one of the most telling thing about Singapore in that report that we didn't do very well is that there's this thing about fear of failure, that our kids are afraid to fail. And this is not good for us, because with so many startups in Singapore, there are many startups coming from all over the world. The funds are coming in. We need our local citizens. We need people who dare to fail and learn the lessons of failure and to build something great. Now, I'm not saying that failure is a must. I think sometimes we oversell failure, that it's a badge of honor we must wear. But I think it's about learning from failure, how to fail forward. And we need to teach our kids some of these things. Now, I worry if Singapore kids go for a job interview, and this is the outcome. Because we are very good at taking tests. And if we don't have the skills, okay, we will lose out. And the competition is relentless, and it's brutal, okay? It's no longer a country versus another country. It's really, competition is at the global stage. Now, I'm not going to talk a lot about this because I think you're going to hear a lot about this. This chart has been circulated a lot at conferences. Those are the skills I think we desire. We want kids to be in 2020, right, and 2015, you realize that complex problem solving, critical thinking has always been right up there. So as educators, we ask ourselves, how can we best put those skills, get our kids to learn them quickly so that they can be valuable citizens, okay, for the economy. Now, so we start really young. In IMDA, we have transit from a screen-based learning at the preschool level. At kindergarten, we think they should not be given too much screen time. Now, I know I come from a tech agency, a technology. So it's weird sometimes to hear somebody from a tech agency say not too much screen. But I think we want technology that is age appropriate and developmentally appropriate. So we launched this project 2 years ago called the Playmaker. As the name suggests, we want kids to play. We want them to make something. We want them to be confident in what they create. So we bring in technology for early childhood, the early child sector to promote social interaction and play. And they have to interact and not stare blindly one-to-one to a screen, okay? So these are the things we brought in. So we get kids to play, to do basic coding with a B-board, keyboard, something we brought back from the US, little bits, circuit stickers. And we think these are important to get kids to play and to make, and to learn a little bit of coding at that early age. That I hope, and I think, when I speak with the teachers, they say that these are the things that are appropriate, they are not beyond the kids, and with teachers helping the kids learn, this is what you will see. I'm going to show you one of my favorite projects by a 5-year-old kid. He just took some recycled materials and he used little bits, and this is what he created. He just wanted to invent his own satellite dish with a pencil, recycle bowl, and a tissue box, a box with some little bit component. And I think that's brilliant to get kids to start thinking like that. So we didn't stop there. This year, in April, we launched what we call the Digital Makers Program for the primary school and the secondary school in Singapore. We worked together with MOE, and we told the Ministry of Education that this is important. So we brought in 100,000 microbit because we want we call it the Digital Maker Program because we want our kids not just to be consumer of technology, but we want them to be creators. And I think this is a cliche if you don't back it up. We always say we don't want kids to consume, we want them to create. So what does it mean when you want them to create things? So we want them to solve real-world problems. I think Tony will talk about that later. We want them to have that creativity and innovation in the digital way, and we also want collaboration. They should not be working alone because we know in this world we don't work alone. So this is the microbit. You can see it at our booth later. So I'm sure you all have heard about this. It has been out. BBC launched this in March this year, and I think it's in many countries already. We chose this because it's simple, self-contained, very open-ended, and it used block coding. We don't think we should be teaching kids coding for coding's sake. You will be hearing from lots of tech companies saying that we need people to code. We think coding is important. It's a means to an end. Coding, computational thinking, you want the kids to have the skills, but you also want them to know that the codes that they put in can do something. So a microcontroller, like a microbit with a compass, with an accelerometer, IoT-enabled, Bluetooth, and then you have the LED display. Find out more about it at this conference, at the IMDA booth. With basic block coding, we get kids to start learning coding and see what they can do with the codes. So how did we do that? We brought it in and we trained the teachers together with Microsoft. We run training program for teachers who will then use the microbit and then infuse that into the curriculum. It is not an enrichment. It is easy to do things through enrichment, but it's always tougher to infuse technology into the subject. So one of my personal favorites is what you see on the left-hand side, Tanjong Katong Girls' School. It was a school I taught English and math when I was a beginning teacher. Now, one of the biggest problem I had when I taught math was that my girls were asking me, what can trigonometry do in real life? And I said, just solve the sine, cosine, tangent problem. You'll figure it out. That's all I told them, you know. That wasn't very helpful, but I wanted them to pass exams, so they better know how to do the sine, cosine, tangent calculation. But I always tell them, look, you know, there's always this classic example in the textbook. You can measure the height of building with trigonometry, right? Now, the girls did that with a microbit. They programmed a microbit to measure the angle of tilt of a flagpole that they want to measure, and they calculate distance, and they use the formula to solve for the height of the flagpole. They basically invented a clinometer with a straw and some microbits, and they use it in their math lesson. The second picture shows some girls using the microbit to create digital art with sensors. Anyone walking past their painting will trigger some lights, okay? It will be interesting to see what other subjects can do with that. And I also like the third creation by a teacher in Singapore he used the microbits accelerator function to help his students shoot better for their air rifle training in school as a stabilizer to see how stable and how steady their hands can be for the CCA. Okay, we also encourage schools to go project-based. So this is an example of schools using the microbit to solve real-world, to prototype to solve real-world problems. This school, they gave the students a problem, that is to create something for hospice patients in Singapore. So you had kids working together, developing an alert button for caregiver if a patient fall. You will see some of these projects out there at the IMDA booth. Also, the kids are here to present some of their projects. Hand-eye coordination games. Well, the really cute one is the soft toy that plays soothing music for insomnia patients. I don't think it's just for the people in hospital. Some of us need that too. Okay, and we have a team using the microbit to create a smart bin to alert the school. It's a prototype when to clear the bin. Okay, you don't need big technology companies to do that. Kids can start dreaming about how to do that. This is something IMDA held. We held a junior category hackathon, and I want to play this video very quickly because it exemplifies what I'm sharing with you today. 3 kids from Singapore, from different schools, came together because they love solving problems. And we gave them a microbit. We asked them to solve the problem that you're most concerned and you care about. And I want to say briefly something. I want you to focus on the video. These kids want to solve a problem about the bus stop because they take the bus to school. And you know, in Singapore, the weather is hot and we get rain. Now look out for, I'm going to give you when you look at the video, look out for words like battery, sensor, okay? And the kids buzzing around. Okay, this is what they did at the hackathon to solve a problem.
Okay. So one day when I was walking home, it was raining. So when I walked to the bus stop, there's a lot of people crowd under the bus stop. And some of them will also get wet. So I decided, why not try to make an extension?
So right, when it starts in this type of water here, it represents the rain. This is what will happen when the humidity sensor detects the water.
So when the humidity sensor touches the rain, then this extension will open. When the humidity sensor never detects rain, then this will close.
Okay, so right, sometimes it's very hot, people will sweat at the bus stop. So when the temperature is above 50 degrees Celsius, this fan will turn on. Currently, the temperature is around 26 degrees Celsius, so that fan is turned on.
So you can...
Yeah, there's also a temperature reading on here.
You can make it big or small.
Okay, yeah, that's it.
So those kids look at the bus stop, right? Let's give them a big round of applause, come on, right? They were thinking about their daily lives, what could be better. So, and what they did was, they used a sensor to test for humidity and all that. They used a little cup of water, right? And then temperature sensor to power the fan. It was just a prototype, but we want kids to dream. And Tony will be talking to you later about his book, of course, How to Create Young Innovators. I'm a big fan of this book. He says, play, passion, and purpose are the forces that drive young innovators. I saw the kids playing, I saw the kids with passion, and I saw lots of purpose in that small little clip. Now that's Tony's 3 Ps, and I think in Singapore, if we want to be a smart nation, we need 3 Cs in response to Tony's 3 P. Okay, you need kids to have curiosity, to have confidence, and to have courage to do what we don't know yet. And as adults, sometimes we're very fearful of that. We want to know everything before we teach the kids. But we want the kids to do what we don't know yet to achieve what needs to be done. And I think that is so important, critical for our education system today, not getting all the answers right. So, we didn't stop Digital Maker with the schools. We have launched it. We think adults need to be Digital Maker. So we have launched it at the community center. We get parent and child working together to make a tea dipper with a microbit. We have a workshop for father and son, hopefully mother and daughter soon. Okay, we got volunteer workshops, we get people running tinkering camps at Science Center. We think it should be community-based, not just within the school, all right? And I think it is also I want to end with a few thoughts, and Jack Ma, one of my, everybody knows Jack Ma, right? Today, 3 days, everybody will hear the name Alibaba, right? Because in 3 days' time is Singles Day, right? 11 November, 1111. And this is where you will hear how Alibaba raked in billions of dollars through e-commerce. And this is what Jack Ma told his son about education. And I told my son that too when I read about this. He says, son, you don't need to be top 3 in your class. Being in the middle is fine, as long as your grades aren't too bad. Only this kind of person, a middle-of-the-road student, has enough free time to learn other skills. So if we chase rankings to be at the top, we might find that we don't have time to learn the skills. So what should we do? And I think a good example to illustrate this, I think, is Israel. Israel is not the top. They are at the bottom 40% in PISA, mathematics, and science. Yet they have the highest density of entrepreneurs, startups per capita in the world. And I think they know that testing is important, but they know what is important is letting kids get stuck with a problem and teaching them how to innovate and learn their way out of the problem. That cultivates resilience, and I think that's an important thing we need to learn. We don't have to be the top, but we want to do what needs to be done and what matters. So looking at failures, not successes, and the secret is, in Israel, is getting how to make the kids get stuck and then teach them how to grow. And Carol Dweck talks about the growth mindset and not the fixed mindset, some of these things that we read about, right? So I end with this. I hope today all of you here will not be, this will not be a gathering where we look at this slide and we think about how to put a computer in front of the kids. Because the great Seymour Papert, for those of you who learn logo programming, who visited MIT lab, you will know he said this some time ago. He was a student of Piaget, constructivism, how to get kids to learn well. And he said this, nothing could be more absurd than an experiment in which computers are placed in a classroom where nothing else has changed. Now, I worry if today we gather here and we walk out thinking that this is what we have to do in our schools. Because I don't think that's the solution, right? The solution is really about innovation, creativity, how to get kids together, interact, problem solve. It's easier said than done, but I think with the collective wisdom of all the educators and policymakers here, we can walk out after these 2 days with some nuggets of wisdom about how to do that better and not this. Okay, I'm not here to push for the tech, I'm here to push for learning with technology, because technology is ultimately a tool not to replace us, but to make life better for humanity. Okay, with that, I hope you'll visit our IMDA booth and see what the kids are doing. I want to welcome those of you who are here in Singapore for the first time. Welcome to Singapore, welcome to the nice, humid weather. And we hope that you have a great time learning here. Okay, thank you very much.